Claire has prepared a lot of questions. I'm very worried. I'll have to. Good to see you. So last week we had a conversation. Oh, Claire.
Hi, Nadine. How are you?
Very nice. And you?
Very good. Very good.
So
How is
I
your
was
week?
about
Oops, sorry.
I was about to say that we had a conversation with Caroline Schilling last week. She talked about her work, her designer experience, and we tried to understand how she works, and that was a very nice
I was,
experience. And
good.
today,
Yes, and today it's you.
I'm a bit worried, but we'll see.
I was actually really amazed by Caroline's English level. She speaks really well English. She was. You said that she's been raised and she studied in an international school, right?
Yes, thanks to her parents, they've been very
Yeah.
inspired to send her to a French American school from the age of 2, and it really make a difference
Yeah,
with
it
her
really does.
accent compared to
It
mine. And
really
yes,
does.
so
So,
that was nice to talk to her, and very easy to follow.
is
So
it sunny in West Hollywood?
yes, it's very sunny. I can check through the door. We have the sun arriving in the back garden, which is really attractive. I wish I I will have a time to stay there. That's
It's
really
very
nice.
sunny in Marina Del Rey at the ocean. It's great. It's
It's
a day to ride your bicycle. It's awesome.
okay. So you're ready to enjoy that, I'm
So
sure.
Nadine, are you ready to be questioned?
Let's try.
So I was wondering if you could just tell us about a little bit about your background and how you grew up and a little bit about yourself
Okay, let's try.
to start.
I grew up in a very balanced family. My father was a doctor, but he loved music and art. And he met with my mom. She was more an artist, but she was also well the feet on the ground and very managing the house
So,
perfectly. So I was in this type of environment, and I've been lucky that my mom took me to lots of museum, and both my parents enjoyed that. We traveled a lot and visit and discovered a lot of artists, and being an artist herself, she also took me to the back side of the making of art. So I had the chance to be sometime in the artist workshop, and I really love that. I also had grandparents that were artisan, and they had a men's suits workshop as well. So I was always in contact with materials, with the way of making things, and to very, very high quality fabrics, very interesting.
they teach you how to appreciate and oh wow.
So that they give you an idea of the type of place I really liked to be when I
Wow.
was younger, and it was
So she
really.
was an artist herself, and so was her parents as well, right?
Yes, she was a painter, for example.
Fantastic. It's
Uh,
great.
she,
Beautiful.
that was the type of one of the piece I really like, and
Wow.
so yes, I was in contact with that. Being a child, it
Must
was
have been
really.
so inspiring.
Yes, at that time I didn't realize at all. It's
Of course.
uh, from now I can really understand that it really inspired me a lot. But at that time I was just being in that space, but that's it. And I was not thinking myself doing things really. I was just curious and looking at everything.
Did she made a career
She
from the art?
she was making some exhibition. She was working at the same time, so it was a half professional, half pleasure activity. And but she really she was really herself doing that, and she took some time. She had sometimes the chance to go deep in and to work with really great teachers and in great workshops in Paris. So she had a nice career in.
It's very beautiful. She was a great artist.
Yes, thank you. But
it must have been very interesting.
It's
so your dad was a doctor, right?
My father was a doctor, yes, and but he was also a musician, and he had a very good ear and could play piano. Just listening to something, it was just playing it.
So art was really a big, huge part of your childhood.
I would say so, yeah.
Yes.
Half, and as I said, the other side was very organized.
Yeah, down to earth, organized.
Yeah, very. My father was also a scientist, so he was.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And when I decided what shall I do later, just to be serious, I started to study management in Paris, and I did a very.
Oh, you started by management, so I was going to ask you if it was obvious for you to just go into a specific artistic career, but you started with management. So tell us a bit about how you choose. What brought you to this specific career path, like you do today? And how did you
when I studied management at Paris University, I knew I would use those tools to work in an environment that would be connected to art. So I applied for different masters in the book edition or in the art field, and I finally took a master at the French Institute of Fashion and Design. So
nice.
From the beginning, I knew I would look a way
you want to stay in that environment.
Of course, I wanted, but I wanted also to have like classical tools to work in many type of circumstances. That would be a serious way to do it. So that's how it happened. And
you learned design.
During my master, I learned how to communicate with designers, with creators, with artists, and to help them develop their own projects. So it was more not being an artist myself, but more how to help artists to develop their project. So that's the main idea of the.
That's very important.
So
an artist needs people like you.
Yes, at that time it was a very new type of education. It was very new programs at that time. Nobody knew. For example, in the fashion industry, you had on one side you had the manager, and on the other side you had the designers, and nobody would really have a good connection, and it was always a fight. So the idea was to improve the way technical parts of the business understands the artistic
match the artistic path. Yes, and I guess artists and needs management, and managers needs the artists. So it's a win-win situation, and it's not always easy. But it was more. You're right. It was more an autodidact career before.
Yes, at that point, I was helping and watching what was going on the artistic side, and that's why after my master I started to work for a design studio called Robert Le Héros. I did. I was supposed, with my education, I was supposed to work for Christian Dior or Louis Vuitton or those type of big companies, but I was not really attracted by that, and I started to work with in that design studio called Robert Le Hérault. They were doing textile, interior textile, very creative team. They were 4 designers from the École, the French art school in Paris, which is very famous, and they were doing those collections, working on textile but also on interiors project, and slowly I was involved in all those projects. They were really artists. It was like a workshop being there. They were touching clay and making shapes with their hands and painting and doing everything it was really artisan work. But they were also designers and could work for big projects like interior decoration. Somebody would like their spirit. They ask some to develop some project for the all interior design. So they were
right
doing
away
objects.
we can say right away that you literally jumped into this artistic niche type of work, like of designers.
Yes, it was
Right?
really niche collection, very high hand, but very
Yeah,
sensitive
you were
and very,
attracted to that right away.
yeah. And as you can, for example, the sample of the picture that you have here, it's there is a special finish on this fabric. It was really creative. It was not the traditional way of making interior textile. So it's really a very, it was really innovative place and way of doing things. So I really enjoy that. And
We can tell by watching the pictures. And so Robert Le Hérault, and the name by itself is very different.
yes,
So
it was creative on all the aspect of the design studio. Yeah, yeah, and they were very talented, and it was really a great experience. I really love that.
So I think you have a very special story to tell us about your childhood. But like I heard about like a dream house. Can you tell us about that too?
Yes, for sure. Again, I didn't know what it would mean at the end, but my parents were looking for their dream house for years, and they couldn't find anything that was really the perfect one.
They were just like looking for their dream house, right?
Exactly. Yes, a place they would really enjoy to live with all the specifications they had in mind. But it was, of course, you cannot find. They were very specific, and they couldn't find anything that was perfect. So they decided to have it built, and I was like 8, 10 years old at that age. And it's a huge project. It took years, and of course, all the members of the family were involved in a way, and I really
finding the dream house.
Yes, thinking about the project, looking at the plans, designing, looking for details, looking for technical questions, in understanding all the issues of having the construction made.
So they decided to build their own dream house, right? They were looking for it, they could not find it, and so they decided to just build it.
To have it built, yes, of course, with an architect and all the team around. The team around, of course, they didn't do it by themselves, but it was a big project, and
but the whole family was involved in
cutting shapes and papers, and we were drawing sketches, and she was asking me, and there was a really constructive collaboration. Again, I was not aware of that, but I really enjoyed that retrospectively, and it was a great experience. So now I love to visit to tour in new houses, and I always ask for the plan, and
yeah, you have a different point of view than everybody else.
Yes, and the brokers always say, but we don't have the plan, nobody asked for that. And I said, for me, it's the only way to understand the space.
To understand the space.
The way it works, and to feel like being in that space. So that's what happened.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. You went to school during your childhood with your parents, in fact, like they teach you everything around art and architecture, and that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's at least the environment that you benefit from that experience. Yes, of course. Again, I didn't know what would happen. Finally, I could have worked in many other type of industries, but I was attracted by that for sure.
So your first real job was at Robert Le Hérault, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was an atelier. It was an edition that we could call an edition.
They were editing some pieces by themselves. As artisans, they were able to produce pieces of textile. They had a big workshop, and for example, I will give you a secret. We printed my wedding dress in this workshop. So the fabrics was made in a special print in the special colors for my wedding dress. So that's was amazing. Also another interesting time.
So they were actually working on specific projects.
Yes, but also they were. Yes, they could work for interior design project, the whole project, but they could also provide one-of-a-kind piece of textile.
Yeah.
And they were also edited by a big French textile editor called Nobilis.
Nobilis, yes,
is a very famous fabric company in Paris. So they were making design for that company, also for a company that was making bed linen or this type of things. And also they were doing some objects like vase or sculptures. So they had a very, very imaginative word, and very new at that time. Now it looks more familiar, but when they started to design those type of things, they had a very famous collection with angels, and it was very new at that time. And all the
Are they still in business, Nadine?
Sorry?
Are they still in business?
The team of they were four. The team.
The original team is.
Yes, they say they separate at one point, and they still work in.
But they're still working on their own.
They are still artists but on their own now. But yes, the team worked like more than 10 years together. They were a school team originally, and they developed the project just after school, and it was pretty strong a story at that time. But
Nadine, did you have like anybody like who played a major role for your career, like who influenced you? As
there are many artists,
like a mentor.
Yes, some of them that I always think are like Giacometti or Marc Chagall, which are very famous painter, and I think they are very poetic and very imaginative people. In the world of fashion that I studied for a while, I really liked Coco Chanel, and so a shoe designer called Roger Vivier. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, because it's not that famous.
No, but I admit.
But I really discovered the precision of the shapes you can see on those pictures. Roger Vivier.
Roger Vivier.
Yes, he's a
He's
shoe
the
designer.
creator, shoe
There is
designer.
is not alive anymore, but the brand still exists, and there is a really great store in Paris on the Faubourg Saint-Honoré. So anyone who loves that can.
Wow.
That's but it's a kind of the photo on the top. It's a special soulier, a special model that he made
Yeah.
for a princess. I don't remember which one. And this is the most expensive pair of shoe in the world.
It looks like Marie Antoinette's shoes.
Yes, but it's from the 20th century. So somebody had this pair of shoe like in the 60s or 70s, and the shape of the heel is really
Wow.
a signature for Roger Vivier. So
have you seen the shoes like in real?
Yes, if you go to the store, and there are many books on that designer, and there are exhibition in fashion museum, and yes, and they are still the modern version of this shoe still exists. You can
Yes.
almost have something very similar. And
I have a pair of shoes like the silver ones.
Right, yeah, they are gorgeous, but if you look at the shape of the heel, they are the two on the bottom are different, and it's very precise and very. And it was like a coup de cœur when I was a student, and I discovered that designers. And
so you're in love with details, Nadine. Huh? I can tell.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the main point. Design is a whole amount of details, and
yes.
at the end it works or it doesn't work. But yes, this is very what I like to look at. And in the field of interior design, I had also a coup de cœur with this armchair from Gerrit Rietveld.
Gerrit Rietveld.
And it's I like the construction is very strict, and also the finish is very soft and comfy, because it's hand stitches on it's not hard to see on the picture, but the finish is also very very artisan style, very delicate hand stitching. So for me, I don't know why it connects to what I
this is your world, yeah, your creativity. And when were created those chairs?
Oh, this chair is from the 30s. 20.
Wow, this is major. Like during the 30s, looking at such a design.
Yes, it was very very modern. It's the Art Deco, but at a very advanced level. Yes, style.
So Gerrit
Rietveld. Yes.
Okay. So
well, you always have some pictures in your some piece in your mind that stayed. Yes. This one stayed. I don't know. Of course.
This is your influence.
Yes, this is pieces that I always, when I look at the. Recently, I went to visit the UN in New York, and the whole space to guest people is they had a whole collection of this Rietveld chairs, armchairs. So I say, wow, it's still interesting for people now because it has been renewed recently, and they ordered a whole. It's still edited.
I'm sure it's comfortable, and then it's also like the small ones are for kids, right? So yes, for the whole family.
This is from Cassina, the editor called Cassina, and they have made a new version for the little one, so it's cute as well.
Yeah, and the colors are beautiful. Mm-hmm. Nadine, can you tell us the most interesting thing that happened to you since starting your career?
I would say that I didn't know why I had the opportunity to stop my career. It's amazing to say it was important in my career, but I had to stop my career when I had the opportunity to move to Japan.
Wow.
with my family, and I was quite young, so I was still working for Robert Le Hérault. I loved my job. It was really a great moment for me, a great experience. But then we had to make a choice: keep going in the Parisian life, or discover a bit of the world. And Japan was very attractive in a way, but very far from Europe.
You're
And
saying that someone asked you to move to Japan?
yes, my husband had the opportunity to work in Tokyo, so
Wow,
he was really attracted by that, and I was thinking, shall I say yes, and he's happy, or
yeah, it's a big,
shall I keep my job? And I
big
knew
deal to move the whole family.
yeah, it would be hard to keep the same type of job in Japan. So I was not sure, but finally we did it, and it was the best experience I had in my life. To be honest, Japan is a completely different world. It's after Japan, we moved to many other countries, and that's my life now. But the Japanese experience was the most amazing, and it's really an
So
interesting.
it gives you even more inspirations, and you got to discover like
Definitely.
another cultural world. And
Definitely, because Japan is a mix of tradition and
yeah,
modernity, as I tried to show on this picture, because it's really, again, the details. If you walk in the street, in the residential area, you have very tiny house. They are very close to each other, so you can see what's going on in between. Families living very close. It's really a strange atmosphere. Of course, you
it's
have
a different culture, different
yeah,
way of life. I have Japanese friends. I've never been there. It's I want to go there, but I have Japanese friends, and so I can tell. I totally relay of what you're saying right now.
yeah, they are very delicate people, very well educated, very so the life there, even if you don't speak the language, and at that time they were very few people were speaking English, so it was really hard to communicate. But they are so nice, so well educated, that it made our life much easier than it could have been. And if you're interested in details, again, it's the place to be. The design is amazing. The style was very new for me. I had no idea of the Asian culture. And the Japanese culture, it's not the whole Asian, it's really Japan.
Yeah,
And
it's very Japan.
living there, you see the difference for many
How
things.
long did you stay there?
We stayed 2 years.
2 years, so you had plenty of time to. Oops.
Yeah, it could have been longer, but it was really enough to discover, to travel a little bit around Tokyo, not to stay only in the city. The city is really huge, and you can spend years to discover it. But it's very, what we can guess on the picture, it's a mix of tradition, village, small family living neighborhood, and then you arrive to big avenues and very modern spaces, and
Some
very
tests, I had the feeling that some tests in Japan are very similar to French tests. Am I wrong?
you mean on
design. I saw a very different things, and but I the way they dress, for example, I think is very similar to the French way of fashion. And
they are very attracted by Western styles, and French high-level brands are very well represented in Japan, and so yeah, they are very curious of that. Yeah, but they have a special way to mix things, which is very particular to them. They love French food, they love French fashion, they love French
so they
design.
mixed their
But
own
then
culture.
they have their own way to wear it, or to use it, and it's really. But the level of the cooking science is amazing in Japan, and on that way, it's very close to the
A lot of chefs
cooking.
agree on that.
yes, cooking in France, which is a science.
Yes, it is.
So
It's
yeah,
a religion. It's a
yes,
religion too.
exactly. That's a religion. I was looking for the right
So
word.
talking about your different experience in different countries, Nadine, would you say that art is different in every country?
Yes, of course. Now the world is global, and the trends goes from Asia to Scandinavia to Europe and to the US. It's everybody knows right in the same minute what is fashionable at the moment. But again. Creation and art, it comes from deep in your roots, and a French designer won't design the same way than a
A
Swedish
Danish one,
designer
a Swedish
or
one,
Japanese,
a Japanese one, or
even British. So yeah, it's really interesting. You definitely can say that some probably this would be British because
yeah.
it's the flavor of what's deep in the history of the country or
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference
the,
between, like, for
the
example,
colors.
Italy
Yeah,
or
this is more
Scandinavia. Or,
Scandinavian style, yes,
yeah,
with the wood, with the natural colors,
yeah,
with the so this is a bit of a cliche to say this is Scandinavian, but and some designers from each of those countries will be
yeah.
attracted by. But again, they
They are
will
very
always
different.
put their own flavor in it, and at the end,
Sure.
it remains something that is
Wow, this
Italian
is
design.
fantastic.
This is Italian design. So and you can feel it. Maybe not all at
It's
first.
warmer. It's
Yes.
warmer, the Italians.
Yes,
You can tell right away.
it's always chic.
Yes.
But it's the design. They are very advanced in the
Yeah.
pure design. Even if Italy has a long history, they are very good at very modern lines and simple design.
So
But
Nadine, today, like in your everyday life, what inspires you in your daily life, like right now? What?
as I said, I travel a lot. I'm very urban person. I always like to be in the city and and I always live in major cities like New York, like London, like Zurich was a little bit smaller, but it still remains a city.
So you lived in all those cities?
Yes, at least 4 years in those places. So each time I had the time to
To
discover
really live in the
and to
city.
refill the flavor. Originally, I lived in Paris, and even the Haussmannian building design was I was always shocked by the details, by the quality of the work.
Mm-hmm.
There are not that many places that you have such a concentration of
Yeah.
nice buildings. So it's really a great piece of art in itself. So when I was living in Tokyo, I was amazed by those gutters, the way the water goes down
Goes
to the
down.
floor.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's very elegant. When it
Smart.
rains, it's make a nice noise. It's really interesting. So living in Tokyo, I discovered like how to look at those.
So it's in the city itself. It's not in the countryside. It's in the city.
Yeah, it's the
Wow.
traditional way to do it. So of course in modern buildings you don't have this anymore, but inside Tokyo, even in the real center of Tokyo, you still have those type of house, a little bit less than before probably, but it
It's
still remains the traditional way of doing things, and Japanese people are very attracted to and connected to tradition, and they're really interested to maybe make it more modern or more contemporary style, but the idea remains, and they are very focused on keeping their traditions for details like this.
Are
But
you yourself focused, like talking about the climatic changes and everything? Are you yourself focused you know, no waste and protecting nature, and then being cautious about like how you build something and going back to roof, maybe.
Yes, uh, I even took a master when I was like 42 years old. I went back to university and I took a master in environment and human
Also,
ecology. So yeah, I was
so it's
very.
another thing that concerns you a
Yes,
lot.
and for example, this is a sample of what I liked in Tel Aviv. This is the Bauhaus style of construction, and this is the version of the Bauhaus style, which is from Germany originally. But in Tel Aviv, they had to adapt to this type of architecture, and they made it a little bit more round than originally. It's only a square finish shapes,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a little bit more round because
Yeah,
it's the Middle East, so it's a little bit more
yeah,
fantasy.
okay.
But also they had to think about this, the impact of the sun and the light. So you can see that the shade that comes in the structure is to protect the inside of the
To
apartment. So
protect the
this is
interior
all, yes, all the details
against
that
the
if, even in
sun
the,
and the lights, and but
yes,
okay.
and it's back in the 30s. So at that time they knew
Oh
they had a
wow.
problem. And
Wow,
yeah,
interesting. So
so
talking about that, we will go back to the gallery after, but like about the choice of the artists you make today is related to climate change and protecting nature and being green, and oh, this is Julien Laguesse.
like guest, yeah, design. It just to say that
Beautiful.
yes, I was influenced by details from the architecture and from all over the world, but more recently, as I took this master, it was not by mistake. It was because
No.
I was feeling concerned that we have to, and I feel that we need more natural shape, organic shapes, and at the gallery, this you can see that I have this attraction
The
for.
trees.
Yes, more natural inspiration, and that's a big part. If we will have a look at the gallery, but most of the shapes are a little bit round and not
Yes,
that
it is.
many straight lines and straight lines that you could have in other type of showrooms. So yes, I would say that this is the climate change pressure that puts me in the more. I'm a urban girl, but I like looking at natural shapes,
And I
nature.
think all the artists that you represent at the gallery are like very cautious about the way they build their art and their pieces, right?
Yes, definitely. The younger generation, it's totally
Yeah.
in their mind. They don't even think
Yeah.
eco conception, eco design, that are those new words about design, the
Mm-hmm.
new expression. But now they totally integrated the concept. They don't think about. Shall I
Yeah.
do it or not?
No, they.
It's on the way of the process. Of course, natural materials, avoiding some plastic
Yeah,
or
sure.
non-ecological materials. It's the best, but sometimes you cannot avoid. Our world is not 100% ready to
No,
uh,
no, of
this
course
type
it's
of.
not perfect,
Yeah,
but at least
and I'm so desperate to see how much plastic is back because of
yeah.
the coronavirus crisis.
Oh yeah.
We are.
Tell me.
It's getting crazy at the moment, so I'm really concerned about that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, me too.
it's
I
the
thought about it.
emergency of the situation, and of course we didn't find something easier than that so far, so we have to do with it. But yes, at the gallery you can see the shapes are soft and round and and
Yeah,
more natural.
it's beautiful. So talking about your career, what was the most interesting project you've been working on, or you're working maybe right now on? Tell
I
us about
think
it.
I said that moving to Japan was the terrific experience I ever made, but working on the French apartment gallery project was the most amazing story I really had to build, and I'm.
How long did it take you to choose all the artists, all the pieces, and find them? Because you found them. This is your specialty, right, Nadine?
It's a more than 1 year project. I opened in September, October 2019, but for a year before I was digging in all the documentation and connection I had to find and to discuss, because working with designers is not just sending an email and I want to order one piece and that's it.
No.
I really try to build a relationship
Nothing.
with them and to
discover
get to
their
know
world
them.
And discover their world, the way they work, and the spirit of their work.
Yes. At first, I would say that I had a coup de cœur for one piece, and then I started to think. I knew some of the designer I'm working with, but I also had to discover new ones. So the first look is the most important, and I love or I don't love the piece. But then you start to understand what's behind, how it's made, how you say all the materials, the quality, the details of the finish, and also if they can work on specific pieces, and most of them can do. So they are real designers that have very short series or numbered piece, and we try to really offer pieces that can be customized for the customers and the clients here. So yeah, that's important, and that's a long relationship and way of working. So it took time, and I was living in Tel Aviv at that time, so it's not easy to work with French designer from Tel Aviv and to organize everything coming in LA. It was quite a challenge as well, but I'm quite proud of the.
Yes, everything is so sophisticated and natural at the same time, and it's very beautiful. You've done a terrific job. Like, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and and one of the things I really like after the opening is done, it's still digging in the information and look for more people.
Yeah,
and
find more information, find more people, find more designers, more pieces.
Not too much. The idea is not to have 100, but to look for a few more
Yeah, we understand your world is very niche. Like you really, your specialty is to find like artists and designers that are in a niche world. Like they think about their piece, like they build their piece like in a way that protect the environment. So it's very important for you. And also it's always a limited series, right? And numbered most of the time. Like I've seen
most of the times it's the case that we can customize. It's at the end it's a one of a kind. Sometimes with numbers, sometimes with a certificate or an estampille. Yeah, so it's artisan work. And process and manufacturing, and it's always very limited edition and very specific, and also pieces that of course are new in LA and small companies that sometimes cannot afford to have a big distribution in the US. So yeah, we try to have a very family style connection with them, and very
I think it's important. It cannot be
And for example, recently I developed a connection with a French gallery of carpet and tapestries.
I was going to ask you about like those carpets, like those the design. It's from Stella, right?
Oh, this one is from Sonia Delaunay, a French designer of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Yes, so this one is the other one is Frank Stella here. Those carpets are a little bit different. They are vintage carpets, very
So
collectors
they are real
edition.
vintage carpets.
Yes, and they are collectors edition, and we work in partnership with Galerie Ager in Paris, which is a great gallery for interior textile such as carpet and tapestries, and they are very well known for in that type of work. So this is a kind of a sample of what we try to develop connection.
And this is one of a kind, huh?
Yes, this is a limited edition. Those one are made by the artist originally, so it's really very collectible pieces. So that's a sample of what we might work more in the months coming. Also, I work with a designer and company that work on alabaster, and we work about the idea of having some pieces of lights made from alabaster, which is a really interesting material. So again, I like to dig in and look for new things.
But how do you, Nadine, how do you really choose the designers? Like what it takes to be at the French Apartment Gallery? What does it take?
So always the authenticity of the inspiration, the spirit which is behind the storytelling, the quality, the if you can see the shape from the end, something that has been drawn by hand or made by hand, which is really important. For example, last week we were talking with Caroline Schilling. At the end, it's a design project, manufactured.
Oh, there's a story, yeah.
But originally there is all the story behind, and the way she worked the material by her own hand. So that's really important. For example, here you can see on the left this is steel which is hammered. So you can feel the material is how it comes out from nothing, and the quality of finish. So this is important. Most of the designers are working in their small world, not mainstream design. They have their own inspiration. They are also very poetic. They use exceptional materials. It's, as we said, it's limited edition or signed or special. For example, here we have work on woods, which is unique in the world. This is a collection of sculpture made by Pascal Houdet. And
Pascal Houdet.
He has a very unique way of working the piece of wood and making like a lace at the end. It's really...
We need to organize a new interview with Pascal Houdet. It was very interesting. Not that everybody else is not, but like the way he works, like it's very unique.
Yes.
The way he picked his piece of wood, and this is amazing.
We surely need to talk again with you. So at the end, the collection here you can see on the left, it's lighting from Beau et Bien. Sylvie Maréchal, his work is inspired by Chateau de Versailles originally, because it's really French. It's really, but the finish and the way she works on it, it's really modern, because it's LED and it's really light, and you can see only a piece of it, but the conception is really modern, and she just took the original idea. So that's the idea of the French apartment. You have a tradition mixed to modernity also, and on the right, you have a shape by a console made by Alan Meredith, and also it's a really specific hand craftsmanship and very, very great. So all the pieces have a story and a special finish.
So you can totally say that the French Apartment Gallery is a niche gallery, right?
Yes, I would say so. It's probably, if you walk around in the LA Design District in West Hollywood, you can see many interesting showrooms, but here we have, I think, a special spirit, and I hope people will slowly get interested in.
How would you, like in a couple of words, like how would you describe like the style of the French apartment gallery?
Oh, if people would say, if they think it's chic, original, poetic, glamorous, a bit cheeky sometime. For example, this is a cheeky piece from Maurice Renoma.
Yes.
A bit of so it's tradition, and also it's really kind of
Maurice Renoma is impertinent as well.
Impertinent style, exactly. He likes to play on pictures and on inspiration, and put it on a very traditional shape of furniture with a very high finish, high quality finish. So this is the idea of the French apartment. It's eclectic, it's delicate, it's as far as we can do, it's sustainable design.
Sustainable,
and yeah.
And that's your personal vision of design, right?
Oh yeah, it's very personal. It's you could call it Nadine's French style if you'd like, because I'm not sure I like everything that is made by French designer, but it's my vision of French interior design that make it very specific, and as we say, different from Italian, Scandinavian, British, or
and also you have a lot of French designers, but not only. You have Scandinavian designers, and you have also like Irish designers as well.
We have our special guest is Alan Meredith. And
Alan Meredith.
Yes, this console is from Ireland, and I thought he deserved to be in the French apartment.
Oh yes,
because he had a very special, and I met him in Paris, so he was interested to work with the test. Yes, so no, is the but again, France is part of Europe, and Europe is the same size than the US. It's not the same country, and we have many differences between traditions and way of doing things, but also
a common story.
Yes, it's a common story, and sometimes, for example, last week, Caroline Schilling was telling us that this, for example, this type of piece, which is made of clay, and the best people to do that are in Portugal. So she decided to have it made in Portugal, even if the design and the finish is made in France. She has a step to so Europe is a whole same family, and we can pick interesting pieces from and manufacturers and craftsmanship from all Europe. I guess
I really love Caroline's fairy tales world. I think it was very interesting, very one of a kind. And so, could you tell us more about like the French apartment, l'atelier, and the service you provide to interior designers? Because like this is, you are very specific, professionally talking. Like you have very specific services, and then the way you can work with interior designers is pretty unique. So. By the fact that you specialize into limited series and specific piece and specific artists, so tell us more about that.
So we try to offer two aspects of the service, which is, if you talk to a private customer, sometimes they are a bit intimidated to come in a gallery. They don't know exactly what they're looking for. Most of them are curious, and they just come in and they look around and they say, "Wow, I like it," but don't exactly. Sure. They're not sure. So my what I can offer is to help them pick the right piece for their own interior and what they really need and what they could really feel good at home to have. So so yes, we can make a kind of we call it atelier, and people can bring pictures from what they have at home already and the space they would like to improve or to really feel good in, and we can discuss and pick pieces from the gallery or from other collection that I can look at and or customize pieces for them. So that's the
fact. Like interior designers could like totally ask you for specific pieces, and even if it does not exist, you could even like ask the artist, the creator, designer to create something specific with a specific size, colors, and of course,
yes, we can adapt.
Something.
Yes, of course we can adapt. So that's what we call sourcing. It's to look for the right piece. So on this part, we more like talking with professional interior designers from LA that really look for a specific project, and they need specific pieces. And of course, we can discuss and go more in details on sourcing specific finish or specific size. For example, here I have a huge table, marble table. We can of course make any size and have special orders and special finish for many details. So yeah, the professional customers needs to find very unique and very.
They can count on you.
Yes.
To help them. Yeah, they can really rely on you, and they can ask you to help them find those pieces and do this specific orders and work on a specific interior.
Yes, exactly. And I think the live will stop in about a minute, because we almost been talking for 1 hour. So I'm afraid it's gonna stop soon. So
thank you, Nadine. Thank you for telling us about like your world and your career, and it was very interesting. And of course, like the audience can just find the lives on the YouTube channel of the French Apartment, and now it's a weekly live, right?
Yes, it's a weekly live, and I'm glad to see that people are watching the videos later on, and yes. it keeps growing, and it's really interesting for everyone to have a look. So I'm very happy. So thank you very much, Claire. It was a pleasure to have this conversation. We'll continue it because we have so many things to say.
Yes.
But another day. Next week we'll probably have Edition Limitée and share a new conversation together. So
thank you, guys. Edition Limited.
Next Friday.
Bye,
Thank
Nadine.
you so much. Have a great
Have a good weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.